Hey everybody, welcome to Neil Talks. My name's Neil, and it's time to talk Avatar: The Last Airbender. And like I said last week, I'm beginning to stress out a little bit. It feels to me like time is running out. We're almost halfway through the final season of this show. We still don't have a firebending master. We still haven't done anything to prepare for the invasion on the day of the eclipse, or for that matter, battling Fire Lord Ozai before the arrival of Sozin's comet. Iroh's still in prison. I just feel like these kids need to get their rears in gear to save the world. I know they will eventually because it's a cartoon. There's going to ultimately be a happy ending, but time's running out. Kids, get on it. Stop having fun. Stop doing scams and going to the beach. I need progress. I'm hoping there's progress in this episode. I'm hoping we get some Fire Nation stuff. I really want to see how Shredded Iroh's doing. Give me all the Azula and Zuko you want on this show. I love their dynamic. I love Zuko's internal struggles. Yeah, that's some juicy stuff there. So I'll take all of that. And let's find a firebending master, which it's still in my mind makes me think that needs to be Iroh, which means Iroh needs to be broken out of jail, presumably by the White Lotus Society or whatever it's called. Things need to happen. We're almost halfway through this show, through this season already, and time's a wasting. But let's see what this one's all about. This is episode 8 from season 3, and it's called The Puppetmaster.
Previously on Avatar.
You're looking at the only waterbender in the whole South Pole.
We're going right back to the start.
This ship has haunted my tribe since Gran was a
Early
little
season
girl.
1.
The legends say the moon was the first waterbender. Our ancestors saw how it
Yue.
pushed and pulled the tides and learned how to do it themselves.
We're going to the poles.
Suddenly they heard something down the hall in the dark.
Oh, stories.
It came into the torchlight. The blade of Wing Fun was haunted!
Yeah.
I think I liked the man with the sword for a hand better.
I've got one, and this is a true Southern Water Tribe story. It happened to Mom.
Oh.
A snowstorm buried the whole village for weeks. So Mom and some others went to check on Nini's family. When they got there, no one was home. Just a fire flickering in the fireplace. She heard a voice.
It's so cold, and I can't get warm.
Mom turned and saw Nini standing by the fire. Nini's house stands empty to this day. But sometimes people see smoke coming up from the chimney, like little Nini is still trying to get warm.
Katara knows how to tell a ghost story.
Guys, did you hear that? I hear people under the mountain, and they're screaming.
Did this come out on Halloween time? No.
It just stopped.
No, there's
All right,
people
now I'm getting
tunneling
scared.
under the mountain.
Hello, children. Sorry to frighten you. My name is Hama. I have an inn nearby. Why don't you come back there for some spiced tea and warm beds?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You know, you should be careful. People have been disappearing in those woods you were camping in. When the moon turns full, people walk in, and they don't come out. Who wants more tea?
When the moon comes out, that means there's waterbenders nearby, maybe. Powerful waterbenders. Kidnapping Fire Nation. Or something.
This place is creepy. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fall asleep.
Nice cut.
People disappearing in the woods, weird stuff during full moons, this just reeks of spirit world shenanigans.
We'll find out what these people did to the environment to make the spirits mad.
And then you can sew up this little mystery lickety-split, Avatar style.
Yeah. Like Pollution Island.
This is a mysterious little town you have here.
Mysterious town for mysterious children.
She knows something. Or she's hiding something.
That's ridiculous. She kind of reminds me of Gran.
I'm gonna take a look around. Come on!
Ah!
Okay,
Puppets.
that's pretty creepy.
We'll see. It's empty except for a little chest.
Maybe it's treasure.
Maybe there's a key here somewhere.
Oh, hand it over.
Oh, that's handy.
I'll tell you what's in the box.
A comb.
It's the last thing I owned from growing up in the Southern Water Tribe.
Oh.
Just like you.
How did you know?
I heard you talking around your campfire.
Is she Nene's mother or something?
I'm sorry we were sneaking around.
Apology accepted. Now let's get
What's up with the
cooking.
puppets? I feel like they massively underfeed Appa. Here's a cabbage for something the size of a dozen elephants.
You're a waterbender.
Yeah.
I've never met another waterbender from our tribe.
That's because the Fire Nation wiped them all out. I was the last one. It was over 60 years ago when the raid started.
Oh, the black soot.
We did our best to hold them off,
Oh,
but our numbers dwindled as the raids continued. Finally, I too was captured. They put us in terrible prisons here in the Fire Nation. I was the only one who managed to escape. I'd like to teach you what I know so you can carry on the Southern tradition when I'm gone.
Yes, of course. It would mean everything to me.
You have to learn to control water wherever it exists.
I've even used my own sweat for waterbending.
You're thinking like a true master. But did you know you can even pour water out of thin air?
Yep.
You've got to keep an open mind, Katara. There's water in places you never think about. Like all plants and all living things,
There's
they're
water in them.
filled with water.
This woman's got a dark side. Yeah. Yeah.
That was incredible.
But look at the death.
It's a shame about the lilies, though.
When you're a waterbender in a strange land, you do what you must to survive.
Does she pull all the water out of people? That's what she's doing it.
To master waterbenders beneath a full moon? I don't think we have anything to worry about.
Yeah, she pulls all the water out of somebody, and they become these puppets, and she keeps their desiccated corpses in her inn.
Old
Oh.
Man Ding?
Ah!
Kid, blame it. Got a full moon rising.
Full moon.
And why does everyone call me that? I'm not that old.
Did you get a good look at the spirit that took you?
Didn't see no spirit. Just felt something come over me, like I was possessed. It just about had me into a cave up there. But then the sun started to rise, and I got control of myself again.
I did hear people screaming under the mountain. The missing villagers must still be there.
Oh. Okay, maybe she doesn't desiccate them, but she does lure them away. Ah, I love that we're exploring the dark side of waterbending. I know I'm assuming things, but yeah.
Allowing us to do incredible things.
Oh. Yeah, that's not supposed to... She's supposed to be scary.
I've never felt more alive.
We're saved!
She controls people like some dark puppet master.
Hama!
Yes!
I knew there was something creepy about her!
Let's save the Fire Nation people from the waterbender. Who thought we'd ever have this
What I'm
episode?
about to show you, I discovered in that wretched Fire Nation prison. I realized that where there is life, there is water. I passed years developing the skill that would lead to my escape. Bloodbending. Once I had mastered the rats, I was ready for the men. And during the next full moon, I walked free for the first time in decades. Once you perfect this technique, you can control anything or anyone.
But to reach inside
Some
someone
dark
and
magic.
control them? I don't know if I want that kind of power.
We're the last waterbenders of the Southern Tribe. We have to fight these people whenever we can, wherever they are, with any means necessary.
It's you.
They threw me in prison to rot. They deserve the same. You must carry on my work.
Awesome animation.
I won't use bloodbending, and I won't allow you to keep terrorizing this town.
Whoa. Oh, this is awesome.
Stop, please.
Oh.
Your technique is useless on me.
Water versus water. Oh man, we're just gonna kill this whole forest.
You're outnumbered.
No. You've outnumbered yourselves.
It's like my brain has a mind of its own! Stop it, Arm!
I'm sorry, Aang.
It's okay.
Thank you for freezing me.
Don't hurt your friends, Katara. And don't let them hurt each other.
Oh. We're doing it. Who puppets the Puppetmaster?
You're going to be locked away forever.
My work is done.
This was an awesome episode. I've had questions since early on in the show about what the limits of various bendings were. Like, I remember asking myself early on, you know, if you're an earthbender, can you bend metal? Because metal comes from the earth. And we saw Toph become a metal bender at the end of season 2. I remember that episode in the desert. Can't Katara pull moisture from the air or from the cactus or something so that she can waterbend in the desert? And it's not that these things are impossible, it's just that they need to be learned. And you need to be open to the idea that there is water everywhere. The thing that didn't occur to me is that you could bend blood. That you could bend not just plants, but animals and people. Not just to extricate the water from them, but to be their puppet master. And it's not such a simple delineation as maybe this show makes it. I mean, ultimately this show is for kids, but it's still a really interesting topic for discussion. We just literally saved Fire Nation citizens from a waterbender, which is crazy considering where this show started. But we're looking out for the innocents. The Aang gang they're good. They're pure in a sense. Like there's not a lot of gray in their motivations. And if they see Fire Nation citizens being imprisoned, they'll free them, even if it's from a waterbender. Hana's such an interesting character because she shares this heritage with Sokka and Katara. She's like almost a surrogate gran. And yet she went dark, and it's understandable why she went dark. She was imprisoned. She was probably, essentially tortured in this Fire Nation prison for years before she discovered this power of hers. She was driven to escape. I mean, the Fire Nation made her this way. So portraying her as straight evil is an oversimplification. But I get that it's a 22-minute cartoon. This isn't a... But there's always more complexity in this show than you originally assume, and I love that we even went that far. We play up the creepy ghost story aspect of this entire episode. We started with ghost stories around a campfire, for heck's sake, and the Puppetmaster Hama is a witch for all intents and purposes. So I feel like this was the Halloween episode the year it came out. If it feels like it aired around that time. I have sympathy for characters like Hama, even though she's supposed to be the bad one in here. My grandfather's brother was a Dutch soldier in World War II, and he fought in the Pacific, and he was captured by the Japanese, and he was held in a Japanese prisoner of war camp for 3 or 4 years, and it broke him. It broke him physically. It broke him mentally. I got to know him when he was a much older man. He never let go of his hatred of the Japanese, and perhaps understandably, but his views didn't mesh with modern Canadian society. But he had been through such a dark place in his life at the hands of his jailers that on one level you could understand it. Imprisonment and torture put people in these incredibly dark places that they may not have otherwise ended up in. And it's hard to know what to do with people who end up in that place. There's certainly not an easy answer. I feel sympathy at the end of this episode when she's being led away in chains to be locked up forever by the Fire Nation again. That doesn't feel to me like a satisfactory ending. And maybe it isn't supposed to feel that way for anybody, or maybe it's supposed to be a little bit more simple good and evil in this episode. I don't know. But, Katara ended up learning bloodbending to save herself and Aang and Sokka from this woman. Just knowing the power doesn't make you bad. How you use it, it can be used like any bending. It can be used for good purposes or neutral purposes or bad purposes. And you really have to ask yourself, is it even that simple? Are crimes ever justified, basically? I don't know, man. I mean, it opens up such a plethora of relative moralist questions in my mind. And I know this isn't what a 22-minute kids cartoon is supposed to do, but episodes like this just sort of unlock this big Pandora's box of like ethical gray area that I love exploring in story. And man, I'm going to be thinking about this one. I'm going to be thinking about this one for a while. And while this wasn't an episode that necessarily progressed our plot, I'm so glad we got it, because it did answer so many questions I've been pondering about bending in general since the early days of the show. And it makes me realize, if earthbenders can also teach themselves to be metal benders, and if waterbenders can also teach themselves to be plant benders and animal benders and blood benders, if they can pull water out of the air, and we've seen firebenders become lightning benders, what else are firebenders capable of? Can they bend? I think we've even asked this. Can they bend lava? Who bends lava? Is that earthbenders or is that firebenders? Or could they both? What else are airbenders capable of? There's like, if you were a dark airbender, couldn't you bend all the air out of your opponent and suffocate them to death? It's as these powers verge on the level of something like the Green Lantern Corps, where if you can imagine it can happen. So how how imaginative can you get in using these bending powers? How far can you take it? There's air in all sorts of places we don't think about on the regular. What can you do? Can you superheat air? Can you like what can you do with air? Can you rapidly expand it? Can you basically explode anything that has air in it? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but the fact that we're exploring this in this episode with water, we've already explored it with earthbending. I'm fascinated to see what if and what we can do if we do it, and what we can do with firebending and airbending, because that's where our final confrontation is ultimately going to end up. Fire Lord Ozai and probably Azula at his side versus Aang. That feels like our final confrontation. Not that simple, obviously. There's so many more players in the mix, but it feels like the final confrontation is fire versus air. But yeah, I'm really interested. I'm really curious. Another great lore episode. I'm so glad we got it. My whole rant at the beginning about running out of time. If this is what we're wasting time with, I'm all for it. That being said, let's get ourselves a fire bending master soon, please. Let's get Iroh out of prison. Let's hook him up with the Yang Gang somehow or other. I'm ready for that to happen. I hope that happens. I've invested so much in that happening, and we've teased it over the course of the show. I need that to happen. I need Iroh to teach Aang. But I trust the writers of the show. I trust the creators of this show enough to know that they know how they're pacing this. They know what they're doing. They're telling a magnificent story, and I'm fully invested for the final run to the end of season 3. In any case, thank you guys so much for spending some time with me here today on Neil Talks. Thank you for all your comments. Thanks for doing the algorithm things. And until next week, everybody, take care, stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Cheers.